Hello my motor enthusiasts. Today we're diving into a season that was nothing short of a high-octane drama, the 1999 Formula One campaign. Buckle up.
That's right, Enzo. 1999 was a head-to-head battle of titans with McLaren and Ferrari at the forefront. What a season that was!
Indeed, William. Remember Mika Hakkinen? Fresh from his championship win the previous year, he was all set to dominate again for McLaren.
Absolutely, but let's not forget Ferrari. With Michael Schumacher, Jean Todt, and Ross Brawn, they were rebuilding and gearing up to disrupt McLaren's momentum.
And disrupt they did, William Turner. The season opener in Australia threw us a curveball with Eddie Irvine clinching a surprise victory. Who could have predicted that?
Oh, and the drama at the British Grand Prix. Schumacher's crash was a pivotal moment, wasn't it?
It truly turned the championship on its head. With Schumacher out with a broken leg, it was Irvine's time to shine. The dynamics within Ferrari changed overnight.
It was a season that tested the resilience and strategy of both teams. Every race had fans on the edge of their seats.
From technical meltdowns to unexpected victories, the 1999 season had it all. Let's unpack these exhilarating moments and see how they shaped the future of Formula One. Hey everyone! You already know me, this is Enzo, your guide through the thrilling world of Formula One.
And this is William, delighted to be here.
You're joined by William today, and together we're diving deep into one of the most dramatic seasons in Formula One history. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated with F1 Motor Fever podcast. Let's put the pedal to the metal. Reflecting back 25 years, the 1999 Formula One season really set a high bar for drama and excitement, didn't it?
Absolutely. It was a year where the titans clashed, literally and figuratively. McLaren and Ferrari were at the heart of this titanic struggle, and what a spectacle it was.
Speaking of spectacle, remember that dogged determination from Mika Hakkinen? Coming off a championship win, his confidence was sky high. According to him, that winning spirit was palpable right from the off-season.
Yes, that's an interesting point. Hakkinen mentioned how the mechanics would just look at him and smile, a silent agreement that they were all in it to win it again. That kind of morale can really boost a team's performance.
And on the other side, there was Michael Schumacher with Ferrari entering their fourth year together, each hoping that this would be the season where their rebuilding efforts would finally culminate in a championship.
It's fascinating, isn't it? The whole dynamic of the sport, how it's not just about the drivers but the teams, the strategists like Jean Todt and Ross Brawn at Ferrari, and the design maestros like Adrian Newey at McLaren.
Indeed, the behind-the-scenes battles are as intense as those on the track. The 1999 season didn't just test the skill and speed of the drivers, but also the depth and strategy of their teams. Full throttle into history, that season. The 1999 season really underscored the evolving dynamics within these top teams. McLaren and Ferrari were not just competing on the track, but were also in a constant battle of engineering and strategy, weren't they?
Quite right. As Matthew Jeffries from McLaren mentioned, they were riding the high from a great previous year. They were focused and driven by a team that was not just about the racing but also about pushing the engineering boundaries.
And that's a crucial point. The continuity in the team with figures like Adrian Newey staying on really helped maintain their competitive edge. It's that sort of consistency and excellence that marks a team's golden era.
Absolutely, and contrast that with Ferrari's situation at the time. Marco Fagnello talked about the challenges they faced, including bad weather in Italy which hampered their tests before the season began. They were under a lot of pressure, introducing night shifts and pushing the team hard to meet their objectives.
It's fascinating hearing about Ross Brawn's role during that period. Willem Toet's insights about how Brawn was given complete control over the technical side at Ferrari really highlights the shift in how Ferrari managed their technical leadership.
Yes, and that move to bring more of the aerodynamics operations into Italy from England. Such a strategic centralization was pivotal. It shows how every aspect of the team, not just the drivers and the immediate pit crew, plays a role in carving out the success on the track.
It's all these elements combined that make Formula One more than just a sport. It's a complex blend of sport, science, and sheer human endeavor. The preparations for the 1999 season were quite intense, weren't they? With the chassis for the McLaren MP4A14 being frozen several months before the season even started, it gave them a considerable lead time.
Indeed, and that lead time translated into performance initially. McLaren came out of the gates incredibly strong. The dominance during the Australian Grand Prix qualifying session was a clear indicator that they were the team to beat, with their nearest rival a staggering 1.3 seconds away from the pole position.
However, it wasn't all smooth sailing for McLaren, was it? Despite the rapid car, they faced several challenges, particularly with the aerodynamic changes and the added weight adjustments.
Yes, that's an interesting point. Those modifications, while necessary for safety, did introduce some reliability issues. It's a fine balance in Formula One, where pushing for maximum performance can often lead to unintended consequences.
On the flip side, Ferrari was facing a different kind of challenge. Their car was solid but not spectacular initially, which meant they had to play catch-up.
Exactly, and it's worth noting how the early races unfolded. Despite McLaren's initial dominance, technical issues and errors opened the door for Ferrari. Eddie Irvine's surprise victory in Australia is a perfect example of how unpredictable Formula One can be.
And let's not forget the dramatic crash at Imola, which Murray Walker brought to life for so many viewers with his unmistakable voice. That race was another twist in the tale, with Schumacher securing victory and adding to the mix of early season winners.
It just goes to show how every little detail matters in this sport. From aerodynamics to chassis stability and even the strategic decisions made off the track. The team's ability to adapt and overcome these challenges often determines their success over a season.
What do you think about the chaos and the sheer unpredictability we've seen from that season?
It's quite fascinating. The intensity and the frantic nature of the preparations described by Marco Fainello really highlight how unpredictable Formula One can be. The fact that they were chasing the weather around Europe for tests shows just how much effort teams put into finding even the smallest advantage.
Yes, and reflecting on Mika Hakkinen's comments about the car being on a knife edge, it's clear that the physical and mental demands were enormous. It really puts into perspective the strain these drivers face, not just in controlling these powerful machines, but also in maintaining their focus amidst all the surrounding pressures.
Absolutely. The mental aspect of racing is sometimes overlooked, but as Mika pointed out, keeping that level of focus with so much going on around you is a monumental challenge. It's not just about driving fast, it's about managing your mind and your emotions under extreme pressure.
And then there's the unexpected outcomes like Eddie Irvine's win. It proves that in Formula One, anything can happen. The dynamics between the drivers and the unpredictability add layers of excitement and suspense that you just don't get in many other sports.
Indeed, the start of the 1999 season was a perfect example of how the fortunes of a race can be turned on their head. It's what keeps the fans on the edge of their seats and makes Formula One such a thrilling spectacle.
The mental preparation these drivers go through, it's phenomenal, isn't it? Just imagine sitting in a dark room, fully visualizing every single minute detail of the track, like Mika Hakkinen used to do.
It shows the level of dedication and mental training that goes beyond just physical ability. Visualization techniques like those can really make a difference on race day, it seems.
Absolutely. And speaking of race days, remember the British Grand Prix when Schumacher had that horrifying crash? There were all sorts of whispers about what really caused it. Some said it was a simple brake failure, others hinted at something more, some internal sabotage perhaps to spice up the championship battle.
Ha ha ha, well, these kinds of insinuations are always flying around in the paddock, but we've got to be careful. Often, they are just that, insinuations without much grounding in reality. It's crucial not to take such rumors at face value.
That's a fair point. The intensity and the high stakes of Formula One certainly do fuel a lot of speculation and tall tales. The psychological impact of such high-stakes incidents on the track is immense, isn't it? It's not just about the physical injuries, but the ripple effect it sends across the whole sport.
Absolutely. The incident at Silverstone was a critical point. The dynamics within Ferrari, with Michael being the number one and Eddie as the number two, really came to the fore. Imagine the tension, knowing the team roles, yet being in a situation where competitive instincts kick in.
Indeed, and according to David Tremaine, there was a real sense of urgency that wasn't perhaps communicated in time about the red flag. It seems there was quite a bit of confusion which might have contributed to Michael's crash.
And that's the part of Formula One that often gets overlooked, the decision-making under extreme pressure, not just by the drivers but by the entire team. Marco Fainello's account gives us an insight into just how a small oversight, like the issue with the brake caliper, can have dramatic consequences.
That's right. The level of detail and precision required in Formula One is unmatched. Each component, no matter how small, plays a crucial part in the safety and performance of these vehicles. It's a stark reminder of the risks these drivers and their teams take every time they go out on the track.
And it's these moments that truly test a team's strength and unity. With Michael out due to the injury, it would have been a pivotal moment for Ferrari and Eddie. The whole season took a turn there, highlighting just how quickly fortunes can change in this sport.
It's quite striking, the transformation Michael Schumacher underwent after his accident. The shift from being a fearless driver to adopting a more cautious and analytical approach really makes you ponder the psychological impact of such incidents on a racer.
Indeed. It's not just about physical recovery, is it? It's a whole mental and emotional recalibration. Realizing the fragility of life, especially when you have a family, it changes a person. Michael's narrative post-accident is a testament to that.
And it's interesting to note how the dynamics within the team and the communication strategies had to adapt during such critical times. Claudio Barro's comparison, likening his role to managing communications during a plane crash, really puts into perspective the pressure and the immediate need for clear, effective communication.
Absolutely, the scramble for information and the need to manage the narrative responsibly is crucial. It's a tough job, especially when the world's eyes are trained on you, hungry for updates.
That pressure cooker environment, it's something else. And yet, it's fascinating how, amidst all this, Eddie Irvine was stepping into Michael's shoes, trying to hold the fort. Shows the resilience and the agility of teams under pressure.
It does, and it also highlights the fluid nature of roles within a team. One moment you're the second driver, the next you're leading the charge for the championship. It's all very dynamic and, in many ways, unpredictable.
Speaking of unpredictable, the ongoing developments in the current season also echo how the landscape of Formula One is always evolving. The strategic decisions, the accidents, the surprise underdog stories, they all weave into this complex tapestry that keeps fans on the edge of their seats.
True, the narrative never stays the same, and that's the beauty of this sport. Every race writes a new chapter, sometimes reflective of the past, but always hinting at a new twist in the tale.
Speaking of the internet, what's the latest chit-chat out there? Anything interesting popping up on the forums?
Oh, quite. I've stumbled upon a rather poignant post by a user named Celebrating to the Max, shedding light on some of the struggles behind the glamour of racing. The chap mentioned his ordeal with visibility issues post a crash at Silverstone, specifically during the COTA 21 race. He battled not only against Lewis but also blurred images, which was so severe he considered turning the car off at one point. Quite alarming, really.
That sounds intense. What's the general consensus in the comments?
Well, a user named Never Gaming account wasn't shocked to hear about the lingering effects. He suspects it was probably post-concussion symptoms, but is hopeful that it's all in the past now.
Recovery can be a silent battle, can't it?
Indeed, it can. And then there's Very Angry Doggo, chiming in with relief that we still have such a talented pilot in the circuits, making the season as good as it is.
It's a relief indeed. Any insights from the technical side of things?
Yes, a user named Squirrel Apocalypse 2 discussed how, despite advancements in safety and engineering, the brutal reality is that some crashes can be devastating. He mentioned that crash barriers are probably the best bet for improvement. They're constantly being developed to absorb more impact, which is crucial.
That's an interesting point. Safety is paramount, but it's a sport that inherently comes with risks.
Absolutely, and there's also a fascinating back and forth on the resilience and aftermath of accidents. Users like Jurist McDurp and neurogeneticist spoke about concussions and their long-term effects, which stirs a rather sobering dialogue about the unseen injuries drivers can sustain.
It's discussions like these that remind us of the human element in such a high-octane sport. Behind all the speed and excitement, there are very real risks and very real people handling them.
Spot on. And it's forums like these that provide a platform for such important discussions, spreading awareness and fostering a community that cares deeply about the well-being of its heroes on the track.
Thanks ever so much for tuning into F1 Motor Fever podcast today. We've tackled everything from the psychological impacts of racing accidents to the nuances of team dynamics under pressure. It's been absolutely brilliant having you all with us. Please do subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay updated. Your engagement really helps us keep the wheels turning. Share our channel wherever you chat about Formula One, WhatsApp, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, or even over a pint at your local.
And remember, you don't want to miss what's up next, though I won't spill the beans just yet. It's sure to be a cracker. Make sure you're tuned in daily, and hey, why not bring a mate or two along for the ride next time?
Absolutely, the more, the merrier. We're grateful for your time and companionship on this journey through the fast lanes of Formula One. Looking forward to having you with us for the next episode.
Yeah, keep those comments coming too, they are often as entertaining as the races themselves.
Until next time then, pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road, our channel's content is pure gold.